Something impossible just happened in Jerusalem. For the first time in nearly 2,000 years, the sound of Jewish prayer is echoing across the Temple Mount. Torah scrolls are being read openly. Ancient Hebrew songs are rising from the very stones where Solomon's temple once stood. This isn't just breaking news, this is biblical prophecy unfolding before our eyes. What you're about to discover will send chills down your spine and change how you see the end times forever. A photograph began racing through news feeds faster than wildfire. At first glance, it seemed ordinary, a flag rising above the Jordan Valley hills. But closer inspection revealed something that sent shockwaves through governments and prayer groups worldwide. This wasn't Israel's flag. This wasn't any nation's banner. Instead, its white fabric displayed a golden outline of the temple, the third temple, and it was planted in the most explosive location imaginable, contested Palestinian territory. But that flag was just the beginning. What's happening now on the Temple Mount itself is so unprecedented, so prophetically significant that it's causing world leaders to panic and believers to rejoice. We're witnessing the impossible become reality. Before we dive into these earth-shattering developments, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're bringing you prophetic insights as they happen in real time, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. This channel is exploding because we're covering the stories mainstream media won't touch. Let me paint the picture for you. The Temple Mount, a 37-acre platform in Jerusalem's Old City, is the most contested piece of real estate on earth. This is where Abraham offered Isaac, where Solomon built the first temple, where Jesus overturned the money changers' tables. For Jews, it's the holiest site in the world. For Muslims, it's the third holiest. For Christians, it's where prophecy will unfold. And for politicians, it's a powder keg that could ignite World War III with a single spark. Since 70 AD, nearly 2,000 years ago, when Roman legions destroyed the Second Temple and scattered the Jewish people, this mount has been controlled by others. First Romans, then Byzantines, then Muslims, then Crusaders, then Ottomans, then British, then Jordanians. Even after Israel recaptured Jerusalem in 1967's Six-Day War, they made a shocking decision. To maintain peace, they allowed Jordan and the Islamic Waqf to continue controlling the Temple Mount's religious affairs. Jewish prayer was banned. Torah scrolls were forbidden. Even moving your lips in Hebrew prayer could get you arrested. This status quo agreement has held for 57 years, until now. The first crash appeared during this summer's Tisha B'Av, the day Jews mourn both temples' destruction. Traditionally, it's a day of absolute silence on the Mount. But this year, something unprecedented happened that made headlines worldwide. More Jewish worshippers than ever before ascended the Temple Mount, but they didn't just walk in silence. For the first time in decades, Hebrew songs began echoing across the ancient stones. Soft at first, then growing bolder. "We will build the temple." Security guards stood frozen, unsure how to respond. The old rules were crumbling before their eyes. Then came the moment that changed everything. Israel's national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, walked onto the Temple Mount with cameras rolling. His declaration was heard around the world. The Temple Mount is ours. Israel must build the temple again. But what happened in August 2025 has left even skeptics speechless. Reports are flooding in of open Jewish worship services on the Temple Mount. Not hidden prayers or whispered Hebrew, but full Torah readings, complete with traditional melodies that haven't been heard on this site for 2,000 years. Videos show Jewish men in prayer shells reading from Torah scrolls, while Muslims at the nearby Dome of the Rock can only watch in stunned silence. The images are going viral faster than social media platforms can process them. One video shows a group of Jewish worshippers completing an entire Torah portion while Islamic authorities stand paralyzed, unsure how to respond without triggering an international incident. Another clip captured the moment when Hebrew prayers and Islamic calls to prayer overlapped for the first time in centuries, a sound so prophetically significant that it gave many listeners literal goosebumps. World leaders are scrambling. Jordan's king has called emergency meetings, the UN Security Council is drafting resolutions, but here's what's really shocking. The Israeli government isn't stopping it. For the first time since 70 AD, the Temple Mount is witnessing regular Jewish worship. The impossible is becoming routine. But this isn't just political drama, this is biblical prophecy unfolding exactly as Scripture predicted. Daniel 9:27 speaks of a covenant that will allow temple sacrifices to resume. Jesus himself referenced this in Matthew 24:15, warning of events that would unfold in the temple during the end times. For 2,000 years, skeptics have mocked these prophecies. How can there be temple worship when there's no temple? How can sacrifices resume when Jews can't even pray there? Today, those mockeries ring hollow. But here's where it gets truly mind-blowing. The return of Jewish worship is just the first domino. Behind the scenes, the Third Temple movement has been preparing for exactly this moment. They've reconstructed temple vessels using biblical specifications. They've trained priests in ancient rituals. They've bred red heifers for purification ceremonies. They've designed architectural plans and secured funding. A recent professionally produced video by a major Jewish organization showed stunning 3D renderings of the completed Third Temple. The presentation featured worshipers from every nation, echoing Isaiah's prophecy that God's house would be a house of prayer for all nations. The video has been viewed millions of times and shared by Israeli government officials. This isn't fringe religious fantasy anymore. It's mainstream Israeli policy discussion. Temple imagery is now appearing on highway billboards, government publications, and educational materials throughout Israel. The idea is being systematically normalized in the public consciousness. What was once whispered in synagogues is now debated in parliament. Political analysts have identified 3 scenarios where Israel could gain full control of the Temple Mount, and each one aligns perfectly with biblical prophecy patterns. Scenario 1: a peace agreement. Daniel 9:27 describes a 7-year covenant that allows temple worship to resume. Many prophecy scholars believe this refers to a future peace treaty between Israel and surrounding nations. Recent Abraham Accords with UAE, Bahrain, and Morocco show such agreements are possible. A comprehensive Middle East peace deal could include provisions granting Israel religious authority over the Mount. Scenario 2: a crisis event. History shows that control of the Temple Mount can shift rapidly during conflicts. The 1967 Six-Day War changed everything in just 6 days. Another regional crisis could provide the justification for Israeli control. With tensions escalating in Gaza, Lebanon, and Iran, such a crisis isn't just possible, many experts consider it inevitable. Scenario 3: gradual normalization. What we're seeing now, increasing Jewish worship that authorities won't stop, could gradually become the new status quo. Eventually, formal temple construction could follow. Each scenario carries enormous risks, but they're all being discussed in serious diplomatic and academic circles. And here's the terrifying part. Biblical prophecy warns that this temple will become the stage for history's greatest deception. Scripture tells us that a charismatic world leader, the Antichrist, will make a covenant with Israel allowing temple worship. For 3.5 years, there will be peace and prosperity. The temple will be rebuilt and sacrifices resumed. But midway through this 7-year period, this leader will reveal his true nature. He'll enter the temple, stop the sacrifices, and declare himself God. This is the abomination of desolation that Jesus warned would trigger the Great Tribulation. The same temple that brings hope will become a platform for the ultimate lie. But here's what gives me chills. If we're seeing the preliminary stages of temple restoration now, how close are we to that 7-year covenant being signed? Current Middle Eastern instability, growing calls for comprehensive peace agreements, and rising global anti-Semitism all create conditions where a charismatic leader promising solutions could emerge quickly. This leader won't appear as a monster. He'll come as a peacemaker, a problem solver, a unifier. The world will celebrate him as he brings peace to the Middle East and allows the temple to be rebuilt. Only later will his true nature be revealed, when it's almost too late. But here's the incredible hope in all of this. The same Jesus who perfectly fulfilled every prophecy about his first coming will perfectly fulfill every prophecy about his second coming. While the world celebrates false peace and temple reclamation, believers will be watching for the true king who will establish his eternal kingdom. The Old Testament predicted the Messiah's virgin birth, his birthplace in Bethlehem, his descent from David's line, and his suffering death by crucifixion, all fulfilled perfectly in Jesus of Nazareth. Now he's given us prophecies about the end times so we won't be deceived when the final events unfold. Every political development, every religious movement, every construction plan in Jerusalem brings us closer to the moment when Jesus will return as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The Jewish people are preparing to rebuild their temple, not knowing that their true temple, Jesus Christ, has already come and will come again. Our prayer is that they will recognize their Messiah before the final deception takes place. Romans 11 promises that all Israel will be saved when they look upon him whom they pierced. But this is also a wake-up call for everyone watching. If the preliminary stages of end times prophecy are unfolding this rapidly, how much time do we have left? Jesus said in Matthew 24:42, "Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming." The return of Jewish worship to the Temple Mount isn't just news, it's a prophetic alarm clock. For believers, this is a time of incredible hope.